Okay, hello, good evening. We're going to try something. I've tested out and tried to give Dina a mic of her own, but I'm not too sure how it is going to come in tonight or not. Go ahead and speak, Dina, please. No. Do you hear Medina any better tonight? Go ahead, Dina, and try to talk.
Hello.
And does it seem like it's
Can you
any
hear
better?
me at all?
Say something, Dina. Talk.
Say something. Merry Christmas.
I do have there is a gap in your voice there.
Gap?
Like your lips will move, but you're not talking. I don't know if it,
Okay,
let me
guys.
see.
Can you hear me? Is it something we need to do away with, or is it good? MH says it sounds great.
Okay, well, I don't know why
If something gets bad, will y'all please let us know?
Yeah, there's I see that it looks like to me that our mouth's moving, but it's not in sync with the voice. Is that something y'all see, or is it maybe something that YouTube's doing tonight?
If I keep my voice up, it sounds better.
But your voice is actually, and mine both, are not in line with our lips. That's what it looks like to me.
Ah, so we're lip sync. Oh, there's a Lakota. Lakota. Our son's name is Dakota. Thank you for, it's not a quilt yet. It's a quilt top that needs to be made into a quilt. MH says it's in sync on her side.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It may just be me. May just be ours right here.
I'm lower. I'm just lower than yours.
Lower voice? I don't know. When you talk, maybe pull that mic around a little bit where you're where you could talk into it. Okay, it's in sync. All right, fine. I don't know why it is on my end. I'm not seeing that for something. Lakota, is that Indian? Lakota Sky? Would that sounds Indian? I don't know. Anyway, I love it. I love the name anyway.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say tonight is that we are going to take off Friday night.
Welcome.
Christmas Friday night, we're not going to be on live. It would be a chance for us to miss this. We're going to be in Tennessee, and we are coming home Friday night, but we're not planning on hurrying. So Friday night, we're not going to be on live. And towards the last couple of them, say the next Tuesday, what date would that be, Dina?
You're asking me.
Tuesday after Christmas. One of those, if it's before the new year, or even at the new year point, we're going to try to cover every case that we ever featured on this program. And if possible, I'm going to go back and try to look at what cases we did, or at least some of the larger cases, and try to feature those and tell you if they had positive outcomes or negative outcomes. Unfortunately, a couple of them had negative outcomes. But we're going to try to cover some of those cases for you.
Tuesday the 29th.
That would be Tuesday the 29th. I'll try to do that.
Pop in and say hello. Our daughter's going to be here tonight.
I'll tell you what, I'll make you a little bet. I bet you that does not happen.
Ooh, what you want to bet?
It doesn't matter what you want to bet. I'll throw that. We might do that.
Okay.
I just don't think she will. She is not going to do that. That's just my
I wish I could see our beautiful daughter.
I do too. Tonight, we're going to cover two people. Two pretty much. One of them was actually contacted. Medina contacted.
Her daughter is on here right now.
Okay, contacted one of the families, and we would hope someday, after maybe if they want to go see our program, see what the program's all about, then that they would allow us to interview them some night on here. And how that happens is we send you a link. You need Chrome on your computer if possible. We send you a link, and you follow that link through Chrome, and that's it. And you get to be either beside Medina there or beside me, whichever one, or you could actually be a third person here. It will hold. This thing will hold about 15 people. I wouldn't want that many on here, but that's what it is.
It's a little slow tonight. We only have 23 people watching.
Yeah, usually. Well, you got a huge channel that's on at the same time we are, so it may be that Crime Talk's on at the same time for whatever reason that we are. I do want to cover, because of the way the thumbnail is, I want to cover the two people that we want to cover tonight is Gloria Alvarado, and this is a very disturbing case. This is a picture of her. She at the time was 15 years old. She lived in Taylor, Michigan, and the circumstances of this case was that her mother got up the next morning and went in to see why she wasn't coming out of her room to eat breakfast and everything. And she looked in her room and her curtains were hanging inside of the window. The screen had been cut and her cell phone was laying on the bed. So they believe that she was taken. They do have a suspect car that was seen in the area by like a ring camera or something like that from one of the neighbors. They did follow a number of clues and leads in the teen disappearance. We're going to show that video here in just a couple of minutes from a news report. It's not much to it. There's not enough to identify with it. Appears some of Gloria's clothes are gone, along with her backpack, which did lead investigators to think that she might have been left willingly. But you leave her phone behind. That's just kind of a telltale that really, who does that unless they really don't want to be found, I guess. She's 15. She's 5'2", 168 pounds.
Yeah, but the background of what's on that report doesn't sound like a girl that would.
No, I mean, they said she was a homebody.
Yeah.
All during the pandemic, she was a big time homebody. Her name is, of course, I said that, Alvarado. This may be different type of Christmas adoption. Gloria is not needy. She is not homeless. She's missing from Taylor, Michigan.
So what they're asking is to adopt her to help find her.
Yeah, her adopter kind of is your child in theory, to help find her. That's exactly. On November the 2nd, 2020, her mom woke up to find her 15-year-old daughter missing. And, they said that, she came from a proud Puerto Rican family, Metro Detroit area, has not been heard or seen in over a month. Yeah, she missed her birthday celebration, and now they're going to be spending Christmas without their daughter. So Taylor Police Department, if you've heard of her or seen her or have any information about her, they requesting that you call them. Now we're going to play a little video that I have involving this. Well, did I cut the sound out?
I don't see anything.
You don't do you see it?
It hasn't. No, it is.
Do you have any sound?
Nope.
Well, I apologize. There's, for whatever reason, the sound has been muted. It did have sound when I recorded it, so obviously it's something I did between the clicking thing, and it's just, I don't know what happened, but it's a very heartbreaking. The family's just absolutely heartbroken, and maybe tomorrow night I can I can get that recording up, and so we can do something about it. Maybe see it.
Was it 2 men that got out of the car?
No, it's 1 man that got out of the car. I can play it without the let you see the video, but you're not going to be able to hear anything. That might be the best thing for me to do. Just forgive me for that. And you can see the video of the car in a few minutes, and then I'll just stop it at that point. But you can tell the mother's heartbroken, of course. And so, you know, Puerto Rican family, I mean, she's a kid. She's still in there, but she's a young woman at the same time, you know. But and this, you know, the window's right there on the front. It's not a very expensive house, but the curtains were kind of blowing in the breeze type thing. The window was moved back, and the screen was cut. You can see it right there. I don't know what happened with the sound. Here is a picture of the car, and that, see here, one guy, I guess there was 2 people. He got out of the back seat. Yeah, he got out of the back seat, so there's going to have to be at least 2 people in the car, maybe 3. You would think he would get out of the front seat if he was the passenger in the car. If he was only he could have been, you know, that could have been a guy and a girl in the front seat, and then him in the back seat. She might have been leaving with them to, you know, for whatever reason. It's hard to say why that you would do something like that, but we don't know what's going on in her mind and what her friends are doing. I hope they did check with her friends also to find out.
Too bad there wasn't more Ring doorbells.
Yeah, they did have the one from the front and the one from the back, but it's just not enough, you know. Then, you know, I watched the news tonight in our area up here. They have somebody that's going around stealing mail, and they had a Ring camera on it, and they saw the car just like that. It's almost exactly like that. Pulls up, gets the mail, and drives off. Well, make you kind of wish you'd had a hidden camera, you know, in the yard better, so they could get the license number or whatever. But, you know, I know if you ever go around Walmart and look up there, you're going to see how many cameras they have. There are cameras everywhere. There's even cameras at the back to get your tag number when you leave out the back end of the store. But anyway, we will keep an eye on this case, and I'll try to get that video to come through tomorrow. Try to get it a better, you know, thing where we can hear what they're saying, and you can hear the parents. And obviously, I'm going to tell you, they were distraught. Excuse me. Now, Dina's going to bring up the next case we have.
I reached out to the family of this woman that is missing. She's been missing 19 years, and for somebody to just disappear without a trace is crazy. They haven't found her car or anything. And basically what happened was, it says, one chilly winter evening, a few weeks before Christmas, a North Carolina woman told her husband and children she was headed out to do some Christmas shopping and kissed them goodnight. She got into her 1995 Pontiac Transport van, drove away into the night, and was never seen again. Yeah,
but you said some of the families here now, do they know they've never found her car?
No. They've never found her car.
According to that report, they never found her car.
Right.
I just wonder if they had really. because if they never find a car, that's when you need to start searching ponds and water and
steep embankments.
Yeah, and also the these places that fill up with water. These
ponds?
These rock crusher things where they have the they're full up with water everywhere up here where they hit a spring where they're digging limestone quarries. I couldn't think of the word I was trying to think of. Of any type of quarry that they have.
A B12 shot. He ain't had one.
Yeah. Any type of quarry that they may have up in that area or somewhere that it wouldn't.
Okay, listen. Kitty said, no, they haven't found it. And nor have they done any water searches. They haven't done any water searches, Kitty?
They haven't. I mean, it's very odd that they haven't found her car.
Yeah,
the car would be either placed in a junkyard or the tag or something. Now, a lot of times what these people do, they'll take the tag off the car and they'll take it to a junkyard that is not, it is not that replicable, and then they'll get the car. I'm sorry, that's my dog. They'll get the thing tore up or done away with. But normally, if you take your car to a junkyard.
Okay, time out. Who's the group that goes and does the water searches?
That's Ventures with a Purpose.
Maybe we need to reach out to them.
Yeah, I tell you what. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll reach out to them and see. And that's in what state?
North Carolina.
Okay. And what they do is they go to the ponds, bridges, anywhere in the area, and they search them by water.
And they found a couple, hadn't they?
Yes, they found one. Actually, a guy, I think he'd been missing 12 years, actually found the car and everything where they believe he accidentally ran off the road, what they believe, and the car was submerged, and they found it. Okay. They have sideways sonar and all kinds of other stuff.
Hey, Kitty, let me ask you something. You were 14 years old. I think it says you were 14 years old when your mother disappeared. And the night that she kissed y'all goodbye and was going shopping, do you remember anything about the weather that night? That's 2 weeks before Christmas, so I know it was chilly. But do you remember anything about the weather that night?
Was she upset about anything? She's been having any problems, any home problems or anything?
Okay. While I wait for Kitty to answer, Kitty, she said, I'll never forget the first Christmas without her. We didn't even care about presents or anything. Our mom was gone. Nothing else was ever the same after that. She was 14 years old when her mom disappeared. Her mom was 38 years old. It was December 9th, 2001. Her younger brother was 8. Their older sister was 19 and had already moved out of the house. It affected all of our lives, Amanda said. But I think I took it the hardest. My mom and I were best friends. She was a really good mom, but then it became more of a friend when I got older. Amanda described Michele as a mother who was always there when they got off the bus from school, cooked their favorite meals, and while she wasn't very strict, she never let them get away with anything. Then later on, we just became good friends. I just felt like we had a special bond. She said she remembers her mother kissing them goodbye and leaving the house in Stoneville, North Carolina, about 8:30 p.m. She said, Kitty says there was no argument.
Yeah, it said it wasn't snowing or anything, just cold.
Okay.
Well,
wait a minute. And it says she kissed them goodnight and left their house in Stoneville, North Carolina, about 8:30 to go shopping in Martinsville, Virginia, which is about a 30-minute drive. Here's the key. It was not unusual for her to go shopping in the evenings because her mother would stay at home while their father was who worked as a truck driver. So she would often, when he got home, she would go shopping, for whatever they needed, I guess. I mean, maybe she just needed a break.
Was your dad on the road at that time, or was he at home?
I think he was at home because she said, I think her dad was at home. Yeah, he was at home because she said we expected her back in a couple of hours. She said her father woke her up about 12:30 and seemed concerned that Michele had not returned home yet. He was really worried, she said. I She had left before, like if they had an argument or something, she'd go to my grandmother's house and come back the next day. But this was different. She wasn't at my grandma's. She wasn't anywhere. Michele's family contacted the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, reported her missing. Local searches were conducted, but neither her or her vehicle were ever found.
And that to me is a big key. Me being in law enforcement all those years, I can tell you there is a high probability that she's in a body of water, just because the vehicle has never been found. If even back in those days, if you took your car, if a car was taken in to be salvaged, they'd have to run the VIN. That's that little number that's up on your dashboard, and then that would tell who belongs to the vehicle. And it's, at least have to try to call them and say, hey, your car's down here ready to be crushed or whatever. Do you know that? And then I know that if the police probably at that time put in the tag number and everything in a welfare concern, and that tag is tied directly to that VIN. So that would be a real key, if it turned up, say, somewhere to be taken into a junkyard. It'd be a high probability that, is there any, like on the roads going into the city or anything, do you have to cross it over any bodies of water or bridges? And did you know if they did any searches of that? Or did they have any type of leads that came in involving the case?
The road that she would have taken that night, what does that road look like? Or what did it look like, 19 years ago? Because it's a lot different now.
Yeah.
Also, while we're waiting on her to respond, she said years were a blur after that. Detectives would be in and out of our life, asking questions, working off whatever tips they got, but nothing ever led to her mom. Captain Marcus Marshall of Rockingham County Sheriff's Department told Dateline that Michele's case is an active investigation, but he would not release specific details about the case. He did encourage anyone with information to call the authorities. The sheriff issued a press release on December 9th, 2020, the anniversary of her disappearance, with a new plea to the public for information. The flyer listed her as an endangered person, holds a spot on their missing persons page, with the hope that someone will come forward with information that will lead them to Michele. As many Christmases passed without any trace of Michele, her daughter became desperate to find her. I was just a teenager at the time and didn't really know what to do, and I can understand that. It's been within the last 7 to 8 years that I've really put more time and effort into this. It's overwhelming, though. Sometimes I have to take a step back.
Kitty, I'm wondering, has anybody in your family done DNA, like put in your DNA to the system, like Ancestry.com or anything like that? Had they done your DNA through them? Because the reason why I'm saying is, it's important. I don't know if your mother, any of the male figures in her life are still alive. If they could do their DNA test on them and put it in the system, it has to come pretty much from a male person in their family.
Well, the mother's side could be.
Yeah, the mother's side of the family.
Her mother's side. Though.
Yeah, but do a DNA swab.
Okay, her uncle and her brother had.
Okay, great. Because if by chance she is located, unknown female is located somewhere, could be hit her head, could be, wouldn't it be great if she had even though it would be tragic, you've lost all this time. It would be great if maybe that she had an accident, hit her head, didn't know where she was, developed amnesia, and turns up through a DNA test somewhere else. But in the worst case scenarios that a body is found, they're going to need to do DNA because it will be skeletal remains now, I'm sure. So you would have to have DNA taken from the tooth or something like that. And they would need to be some way of having it in the system.
Okay, Amanda's older sister and younger brother still live in North Carolina and ask for updates from time to time. Amanda says they aren't heavily involved in the search. Her dad still lives in the house. He believes she just took off and left him and us that night, Amanda said. And I guess that's possible. It's hard to rule out that she just left all of us and started a new life. But there's something that nags at me. Something happened to her on the way back home. For years, there have been countless stories and rumors and speculations about what happened to the North Carolina mother that night. Some believe her father was involved. Others thought her grandmother was instrumental in helping Michele start a new life. She said, I have to step back and stop listening to the rumors. My mom's disappearing was devastating to our entire family. Wait a minute. I lived with my grandma for a few years, and I would hear her cry at night about my mom. We are all heartbroken.
All these people saying all these type of stuff. I wouldn't listen to all that stuff. That's just noise, in my opinion. Well, Kitty, if they don't know the family, there's just noise. One thing I wanted to know, Kitty, though, do you know if any of the people saw her in town, like store people saw her in town, reported to the police? Yes, she was in town. She was shopping, but she left, and because so they could narrow it down between the time she left town and the town where the house is. If you could tell us, I don't know. See, it's difficult because you were so young at the time, and I know it'd be difficult to know what the police had done, but I'm just wondering if anybody ever saw her in town that night. And another thing too is that whole area up there's probably got water around it. I've been up in that in those areas up in there. Depending on how close to the coast are you. Well, while I wait on her to respond there, I would also say that heard nothing from anybody. I had to put up flyers that years later. Yeah, that it would be interesting though if somebody had ever seen her in town, so you would know which way to check, or she'd left there, whatever. Also, a lot of times, which I don't know who your governor is, but a lot of times your governor will still put up a governor's reward, and that sometimes that does help to generate leads. 4 hours from the coast, okay. Detective used to have her case said large pond, several rivers that they need to be searched. Lynn, I guess Lynn knows about this case.
But no, Lynn notified. Lynn's been listening, and she notified Adventures with a Purpose.
Okay, you did, Lynn? That would be great. Tell them they can get a hold of me if they have any, questions that maybe we can help direct this a little bit. I'm
looking at a map of the town now.
I'm sure this town that she was going to was not huge. Is that the impression I have, that it's kind of a small town?
Well, it has to be bigger than the town she was in. Why would she go shopping there?
Well, I mean, we lived in a little podunk place out there in the country for a while, but the biggest town that actually went shopping was a lot bigger than the town close to us. Okay, Lynn's been helping her for a few years, said.
Okay, good.
I tell you what you may want to do just to create a more interest in what we've suggested in the past is to have some type of candlelight vigil for your mom up there with one of the churches to you know, try to generate some more interest, or either like they did with the police is maybe get the news media to feature it again, because it's been such a long time they never had anything.
Okay, so more than likely she would have taken 220 up to Martinsville. Highway 220, because that's a direct, it's like a direct, doesn't look like there's too many other ways to go though.
And Lynn, I hear you about the detective not being there and you feel like it's kind of lost. I can tell you from experience as a law enforcement officer, as a retired law enforcement officer, you get the press involved, and I guarantee that the people in that sheriff's department are going to be interested in helping y'all. They do not want to look like they got their hands in their pocket. I would, I would be calling them and say, hey, this something happened all these years ago. We know it wasn't, they didn't totally vanish off the face of the earth. We would really appreciate if maybe you do a little, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Do a little thing on the news saying, or just a little bleep on the news about saying what happened, and how that your family's still struggling all these years, and you really like to hope that it would generate some leads. And a lot of times the news will do that, if nothing else, as a human interest story, especially.
She needs closure.
Yeah, right. And we can all hope and pray that your mother is somehow found alive, either that she left on her own or otherwise. I just don't get that. I mean, you got children at home. Mothers don't leave their children usually. Not all the time, but usually. My wife's sitting over there shaking her head.
Well, because my natural mother left
her. But I'm talking about usually they do not. You knew where your mother was.
No, I didn't. She left me when I was 3 months old.
No, but what I'm saying is she didn't disappear.
Yes, she did. I've never seen her.
No, but you knew she was alive.
Yeah, I knew.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
She says we've had the worst luck with the police department. Listen.
How big is the police department?
Adventures with a Purpose, I think, needs to be called. I think they're the ones that need to come.
Yeah, they've got almost 1 million viewers right now, 1 million subscribers. It's way on up there. And it's because they were very fortunate to find 2 or 3 missing victims in the last few months.
Do you have a GoFundMe page? Maybe posting a billboard on that road.
Yeah,
a billboard on that road might help.
I think the news generating, maybe even get you a GoFundMe page up and offer a reward off the GoFundMe page. Say if you could generate $5,000 or $10,000 and give that as a reward for information leading to her, period. I mean, information leading to what happened to her. And you may generate some leads. I don't know if you would or not, but that may be something that you need to do. It's very difficult for me to sit back here and say, oh yeah, you need to do this, or you need to do that. If we are not in your shoes and we are not in any place to try to tell you what to do, we can make suggestions. That a GoFundMe page would be good. It's it's not difficult to establish, and we would be more than glad to put it on our website and on our Facebook page, and also put it out on here. And that would might give you funds to help with your search. Use the money to put, like you said, a billboard. Use the money to put out flyers. Use the money to, get other people involved. I think I would not. I don't know if I would hire a private investigator or not. It's been so long. If with the officer not working at the PD, I'm sure there's reports up there. One thing you might try to do, and I don't know how forceful you feel about it or what to do it, you might go submit in writing a request for all the police reports involving your mother's case in writing. Now, if they say this is still an active case, they may not give them to you. But maybe if they would just let you come in and sit down with one of the investigators and look over the reports. If they won't let you have them, if they say, "Oh, we can't release them," I think you need to do is go up there to the police department and ask whoever the police chief is if you could have them. If he says it's an active investigation, we can't let you have them, say, "Okay, would you let me see them? Would you let me sit in there with an investigator and see what's done on my mother's case?" And if they say, "I'm sorry, we can't let you do that," then that'd be the time to get an attorney or whatever and try to get it done. I know it can be done. If you look at the Keys case out of Florida, what's her first name? Jennifer Keys. I can't think of her name, but it was Kisse. I think it's Case or Keys. They sued the police department to get the records and finally got them. But, that case is 15 years old also. You definitely give it a go. It's hard to, Lynn wouldn't be fair. She's definitely been an angel. I'm going to tell you.
Okay, she said her mom's mom had a PI at one time, but she's not spoken to him in a while.
You might, and what's another thing? Try to get the records from him also.
Yeah.
Try to get the PI to give you what he did. I know it is overwhelming. Believe me, I know it is. And just because I have worked it from the law enforcement standpoint of it, and where we had one of the largest cases I worked, we had a guy that was missing, and he spent $100,000, $100,000 of the family's money before he ended up running off the road and killed himself. We don't know to this day how, he was drunk or what, I don't know. But it was, even we knew where he was going. We had ideas about everything, but we just could not get our hands on him because he had a mental breakdown, in my opinion. So, I know it can be overwhelming. I really, and well, listen, I'm going to call you Kitty or Miss Smith. It doesn't matter. We're not saying that you're doing anything wrong. Believe me, you're doing everything right. You're here tonight. You're gracious enough to answer my questions. You don't know me from Adam's House Cat. And, we will try to help you any way we can. And if I can get Adventures with a Purpose, I'm going to send them also a message, also asking them about coming to see you. If there's a way that if you want to send me your phone number, or Lynn, if you want to send me your phone number at our email address, themissinglivestream@gmail.com, then I will forward that to them. And maybe they can get with you. And if at least they could come up there and search and tell you, yes, it is a possibility, or no, we didn't find anything. And then you could kind of have some peace of mind about that she's not in one of the local rivers. And what they'll do is they'll go near the roads that she went, and they'll search both sides of the bridges. They'll search any type of other roads that might have been anywhere that they think. They'll even talk to the police. So, it's very difficult. I know it's very difficult. especially when there's very little limited information. I've been sitting there trying to think of things that what would I do if my mother or my father or one of my kids were missing in this area, around where I used to live, and where would I go back? Who would I talk to? Especially starting at that age, and it's very hard because I don't have a whole lot of memory, just real fine memory of that time when I was 14 all the way to I was 30. I remember times, and I remember the good times, remember some bad times, but I lost my mother when I was 22,
21.
21. She was killed by a doctor in a hospital. And my father lived an additional up until 2011. 2010. He was 91. Actually lived in an apartment next to inside our house, basically, for like 20 years. So, he never remarried. And I still, around the time that my mother died, even though I was 21 years old, it is still a big, gigantic blur. And so I can imagine, for one, she doesn't show up and, gone 10 days, 15 days, a month, 6 months, a year, the not knowing it would be the total hard thing to grasp. And especially at your young age, the not knowing. Has any of the family come out with theories other than just to blame somebody? Has anybody of the family come out with theories about anything outside of the family? I give it little credence to somebody that says, "Oh, I believe so and so's involved, or so and so's involved within the family." I give that, unless there was some type of really bad domestic situation going on in the family, and I think you probably would have known about that. Foggy, hard to remember things.
I just really have a feeling that with the car not being found, that either down an embankment somewhere.
That is, you just don't know how big that is for the car not to be found.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's huge, because the car has traceable parts on it, and the roads along the route are very heavily wooded, super dense. One detective checked close to a property, but stay within 100 yards. Yeah, well, I understand, but if it's in the woods, you have say you're.
Wait a minute. Wait. Think about the lady recently in our area that they found after 10 days or it was somewhere in the United States. They found her. She had run off into down an embankment, not a far embankment, but the trees were all, like they are on I-65. And she ran off down there, and the car flipped upside down, and she was able to survive like 10 days.
Well, they just had an airplane crash near our house up here, and they found it.
Oh, did they?
It was like 8 days before they found that airplane. Now he died in the crash, so the pilot died, but they had aircraft up that night.
Okay, listen.
And everything.
Kitty says it's just about her maybe wrecking, and then somebody thought that she'd gone into witness protection, but that's just a rumor because it doesn't make sense. And see, it doesn't make... Kitty, let me ask you something. You were living in that home, so you knew how your parents interacted with each other. Did your mom seem depressed, or did she seem like, thinking back, were there anything where, she wanted to tell you things that you thought, well, gosh, Mom, you could have told me that later, or, when she kissed you goodbye that night.
And another thing too is why you have to have some reason to go into witness protection. You can't. People just don't go into witness protection. I'm telling you, it has to be. It has to be major.
I dropped the whole stack of papers.
I've had people that have been witness in major cases, drug cases, and they said, "Can I go into witness protection?" And and Marshal Service said, or that take care of that, they don't qualify. So it has to be something huge.
So everyone blamed your dad, and that even made it worse, didn't it, Kitty?
Well, usually they're going to do it. They're going to blame, they're going to search for the father or the husband, the ex-husband, all this in every case. But he was not involved because he was home with y'all. So that's a surefire alibi, you know. Not that he probably would need one, but and you know what your family structure and your family life was like. I mean, even at that age, you could know if it was
tense or you know when somebody's mad at somebody.
I mean, I'm not talking about just a fight every now and then. Everybody has a disagreement in their marriage. If you don't, then I don't know. I don't know.
Say somebody's
everybody's have a disagreement in their marriage about something. You know, you're going to have disagreements. That's just the way it is.
Hey, you know? Helen.
I think that, I think if we can get the Adventures with a Purpose down there to at least rule it out. I know they went last week, they were checking for somebody missing, and they checked bridges on both sides of all the bridges on the road, and they eliminated finding them anywhere. So at least they could say, hey, what we know and we check, there's nothing down there. Because what they do is they launch a boat first. They sonar the whole place to see if anything's down there, and then they dive it if they find a car. And, you know, they'll probably find a bunch of cars around bridges. People run them off for whatever reason.
Deidre said, can you ask Jared about a case in Texas? College kid, 21, just missing, car found, apparently driver crashed, and no driver found, uncapped wells in the area.
I'll try to find out about that if you want to write that down. Uncapped wells, I wonder if that's uncapped. You know, you really are, like, a well's not, they're not this big, what they consider uncapped wells. If they're talking about the old wells, hand dug wells, there'd probably be a lot of those around.
Okay, she was depressed. She was depressed always. Within 3 years before she left, there had been rumors that about my dad, but I know in my heart he was not involved. They thought yes, but I would know if he was involved.
Well, I'm going to take that you have knowledge of that, and that's all that matters. And listen, just because you're depressed doesn't mean you're going to go out and do something to yourself. For her to say, I'm going shopping, you know, that tells you 2 weeks before Christmas. I would think more likely than not that she had an accident, you know, an unforeseen accident, you know, and like you said, you could go down an embankment and get, you know, there are embankments. The only thing about going, that's why I would look more for water than I would just a wooded area, because there's so much stuff around highways done by the highway department. And they do occasionally have people wander off down there, and you got deer hunters, you got fishermen on these banks. I think that'd be more likely to have a car discovered just running off the road than I would be in the water.
Thanks, Anna.
What did Anna say?
Put your finger to the print.
But I think that what I'll do is I think everybody that has any contact with Adventures with a Purpose, to send them a kind of an email saying, hey, we'd really appreciate if you'd look at this case and maybe do something, you know, about it. Try to come and try to help. And if you will send me an email, Kitty or Lynn, to give me a phone number where I can forward to them, I will do that too, and I think that might make a big difference.
This was December 9th, 2001. That's when it happened.
I'm just simply saying, I'll say this again, not finding the car is huge. That is, I mean, it's huge, because cars are your link, and no, you just can't. I don't care if you drove, she left and she drove out to California somewhere. That car is going to be, that tag on that car or that parked somewhere is going to be run by the police. And it's going to have a hit back that says missing person.
Well, would she have had a phone in 2001?
I doubt it.
You know, MH, I'm not sure about a phone it's hard to think back 20 years ago.
I don't think phones were.
I think we had a phone, but it was this huge case that we carried around.
I don't think we had a phone in 2001. I don't know. Now, maybe.
We had one in 82. When we went to the farm, we got Mindy and went to the farm.
But we didn't have a phone.
Maybe not a phone. Maybe it was in, I don't know. We've got no.
I don't know. I do remember having the big box phone construction thing in my car back then when I was building houses and stuff in the late 80s.
That would be good, Lynn.
I don't know.
Yes, Kitty's mom went missing.
Yes, and you know, I just think
Kitty, there's underneath Tommy, there's a Gmail, the missing live stream at
Gmail. right up underneath my name there. You should be able to see that. Hopefully, another missing woman, same county, 3 months prior, still haven't been found. Police didn't search for her, but her husband is suspicious in the case.
Lynn, do you have the name of that woman?
Was her car found? That'd be I'd be interesting. She did not have a cell phone. Well, yeah, I think even when the cell phones first came out, they were not easy to get.
Well, they were big and bulky.
Yeah, I remember when I was in narcotics when we first got them. We thought they're the greatest thing on earth until people call us at all hours of day and night. But I still say the car is everything. Finding the car is everything. And that's why if you can get to have some searches done by them in the rivers. Do you know if anybody has ever searched the rivers up there?
She said she didn't think anybody
didn't think anybody ever searched them.
Her car was at home. The other lady's car was at home, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't that kind of.
Yeah, and I had a email from somebody recently concerning the Susan Morphew case, and they were saying you got a bunch of other cases of missing people up in that area. How come you don't believe it's a part of that? Or how come you don't believe it's part of Psycho, the guy that was found down, the guy that murdered these people down there near New Mexico? Oh. It's not the same situation. They're not the same circumstances. And where they live was so far back in there in the woods. It's just not, I can tell you that it's just not happening. I don't think so. Nobody searched them. Okay, well, maybe we can change. I say that, but they didn't have back in there they did have helicopters. They could have searched their bank. They could have searched the wooded area, but it also depends on how serious the police department took it. How big a department is that up there? At the time, how big of a police department? Under 50 men, over 50 men, under 100? I mean, is it small town or is it big town? And where was the big town that went up into that? Where would nobody search? Where was the town what was the town's name that she went shopping in?
Maryville. Wait a minute. I had it right here. Martinsville. I was right the first time. Martinsville.
I don't know that town if it's little or big or whatever.
I don't know that.
Well, I mean, I might know if some of those towns we've been through there.
You are hilarious. Have you been to Pineapple, Alabama?
Oh, no, I've been to Cuba, Florida, though.
Okay.
Or Cuba, Alabama. I've been to Cuba. Um, well, we'll definitely try to get Ventures with a Purpose to put that on their list. I'm sure they have a list, and
It's not a big police force.
not a big department. That is one problem. Maybe 100, if guessing. Yeah. And back then, who knows what it was, you know. So if there's any, a lot of times police departments, even small ones, if they're, it would probably been better if it had been 5 or 10, because then they maybe not have much to do and they could take a lot more serious interest in looking into it, and then they could have notified the state troopers. But I'm just wondering what type of is what type of effort they made in locating what, if anything, they have any information. That's one thing, is you need to get with try to look at the reports, you know. Well, I know that's been kind of, we're looking at an hour here now. I do want to they did one helicopter search, but just once, and it was 5 years later. Wow. And you know how, I don't know, that doesn't sound even right. That they must have had some information that it's possibly a car in the woods or something. I don't know. The original detective I mentioned still wants to help. She would probably speak to you guys.
That would be
It
great.
would help to find Michele. She's very kind. Hey, Lynn, if you can send me her information or anything, how you think I might be able to get a hold of her, I'll be more than glad to give her a call and try to get some information, and we'll feature this one more time.
Kitty, it sounds like we need to get boots on the ground in your area, and hopefully Adventures with a Purpose can come, because this is what they do. They know how to search, and it would be pretty good to be able to bring closure to you and your family.
And they are still walking around here doing stuff during COVID, so
yeah,
they are making contact still. So if you can give me some information where I can get a hold of her, and if anybody in the family wants to come on, Kitty or Lynn or anybody that knows more about this case, we'll have you on, and we'll talk about it again, and especially after maybe we can get a hold of Adventures with a Purpose.
Kitty, I am so sorry. She's got cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, you'll be in our prayers, Kitty. Kitty,
I want to tell you something. I've been sitting here thinking, and I need to tell you this, because in the Bible it says that God's eyes go to and fro through all the earth, and that nothing is hidden from God. And in Luke it says that God will bring to light those things that are in the dark. He will uncover those things that are hidden, and he will shout from the rooftop those things done in secret. And so what we need to do is we need to ask our Father who is in heaven, who gives good gifts and cares about us and knows every day we're going to live, every word we're going to say, and every thought we're going to have before we ever have one of them. And so we just need to ask him to bring peace and closure to this situation, and to help you to bring your mother home. One way or the other, to bring your mother home. God knows what happened to her. He knows where she's at. And I just have a feeling that we're gonna know something, because I don't know. I just have a feeling that God's going to bring you closure. And Father, I just want to pray right now for Kitty, this cancer that's in her body. God, you know what's going on there. And God, you have the power to speak, and she will be healed. God, I pray that you will pour your healing oil over her from the top of her head to the soles of her feet, that you will cause every part of her body to line up and work the way you designed it to. Father, we ask for perfect healing to come. And God, take away the stress of her mother being missing. And God, just give her a peace that passes all understanding. Wrap your arms around her, God. And when she sleeps tonight, give her dreams and visions. And God, wake her up refreshed in the morning. And God, we pray that this cancer will be removed from her body in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Well, we're going to go, and I'm going to go and try to get a hold of Ventures with Purpose. And if you can email me your information, Kitty, I'd appreciate it, or Lynn, or somebody, so I can tell them about you and try to get them in touch with y'all about this.
And just let me just say real quick, when God lays on your heart to pray, you don't stop and think about the people you may offend that are in the page or in the subscription here. We have had some complaints. I had somebody say that they were a Christian, but they didn't like the being crammed down other people's throat. I'm not cramming it down your throat. I hope that didn't offend anyone, but if it did, then I'm sorry. You'll have to take it up with God someday, because I felt the need to pray for Kitty.
And like I said, Kitty, if you can shoot me a phone number so I can tell them who to call, that would be great. And everybody, stay well, stay safe. I wanted to show you this picture. My wife sent me this picture. This is back in the old times when, well, I had it down here, Dana. I don't know where it went.
Bless your heart.
Is this it? Huh. Well,
So they'll never stop us. I just believe when someone says they need prayer, or when God lays it on my heart to pray, I'm going to pray. If it's in the middle of the Walmart, or in the middle of my store, or in the middle of a Walmart parking lot in Montana.
1 second here. I'm trying to find a picture that she sent me. I had it.
What was it of?
It was me and you.
Us?
It was us's.
Us's. Y'all, I hope y'all have a wonderful night. I got up at 5:30 this morning and baked cookies, because I had a customer come in our store yesterday and said, "Oh, where's the cookies?"
No, I cannot.
Have any.
I cannot find it, so I don't know what the
Just
deal
play
is.
the dogs. They love the dogs. Y'all love the dogs, right? You'd rather see the dogs than us anyway.
I play it. There's no music with this. This is something that my dog earlier that she took, and we hope to see you back tomorrow night.
What is it? I heard you. What you want? Tell me. What is it? Inside voice. What is it? You still after the cat food? Don't even think about my cookies up here on the counter. Don't you think about that. You want the cat food, don't you? Inside voice. What? What? Inside voice. Talk to me. Talk to me. What? What is it? What is it? What? Inside voice. What do you want? Oh, you're just like a typical kid. You put a camera on them and they stop doing the funny thing they're doing.